5 things learnt from Manchester City's 1-0 victory over Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-final. So do I go from 1 to 5 or 5 to 1? I'll go 5 to 1. Stefan Ortega is my first point. Underrated goalkeeper. Put him in like most teams in this country, and he's the number 1 goalkeeper. But because we've got Ederson, and Ederson's so perfect for the way that City play, he's always going to be the number 2, unfortunately, for him. And that means that at some point he might end up leaving to go to another club to be the first choice keeper, which might mean that whoever we replace him with won't be as good. So I thought he played really well yesterday. He made quite a few good saves, especially in the early parts of the first half and second half. So well played to Ortega. Number 4 is that Jack Grealish is so vital for Manchester City, because when he's on the pitch, we have so much more control over teams compared to when he's not on the pitch. And I can only think of maybe a few players in the squad that are more vital to this City team than him, and that's Ruben Diaz, John Stones, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, and probably Phil Foden. But he's 100% got to start in all these games in the business end of the season, because that's going to be a massive difference within us winning the games or losing or drawing. I was gutted when he went off. Hopefully it's not too bad. But I thought he was one of our best players on the pitch yesterday. Doku did really well when he came on to replace him as well. So we've got 2 really good players there. It's just that one's more consistent than the other, which is Grealish being more consistent than Doku at this moment in current time. But I think Doku's consistency will improve over a longer period of time, especially playing under Pep Guardiola. Point number 3 is that Bernardo Silva is the most underrated player in world football. He might not be as technically good as like some midfielders like De Jong, Kimmich. Let me think of another midfielder, Musiala. But what he gives you is he gives 110% for the badge, 100% work rate, and he always puts in a 7 or 8 out of 10 performance. Great player, Bernardo Silva. City legend as well. He might not be as technically good as like players that we've had in the past, like David Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, but in terms of work rate and given like they're all for the badge, I don't think we've had many players better than him in that perspective. And we need to make sure he stays, because I think he's one of our most important players, because without him, there's no real energy within the midfield. Point number 2 is that Ruben Diaz should be City captain, because when he came on yesterday for John Stones, I thought he was excellent, and he commanded the defence really well, and he's got to be City captain because he's the best leader we've got within the team, and he conducts himself well on the pitch and off the pitch. So he's got to be the captain in my personal opinion, because from what I've seen from all our players, he's got the most leadership. And nothing against Kyle Walker. I do quite like Walker, but he shouldn't be the captain, and Ruben Diaz should be the captain. Point number 1 is that the double is on. Is because I did get slated on Ian Cheeseman's vlog in the comments, because it looked like I was saying that I wanted United to win, but I wasn't saying that for their game against Coventry. I was saying that I'd rather play United because the players would be much more up for the game because it's a derby, and with it being a final, it would mean something even more for the players to get up for. Whereas if it's Coventry, the players might go out there expecting to win, and then a complete embarrassment happens and Coventry end up beating us, just like what happened with Wigan all those years ago in the final, and also when they finished our quadruple dreams in the Centurion season. I think, was it like the 5th round or something like that? Obviously, the league's going to be tough. I'm scared for the Forest away game, and I'm scared for the Spurs away game, because Forest, we dropped points there last season. We should have won that game about 8-0, but then they had one good chance and scored through Chris Wood. And we got punished for not taking our chances, and they're fighting for their lives this season, and they've also got a point deduction, so that's not going to be easy. So they're fighting down the bottom as well, so they're in a relegation battle, so that's going to be really tough, and their fans will be probably quite vocal for that game, so I'm worried about that one. Spurs, because we've never won there in the league, but I am a bit more confident than I have been previous times going to Spurs, because obviously we've got that hoodoo out of our way with beating them in the FA Cup earlier on in the season. And I am also scared for the Wolves game, because they're going to put 10 men behind the ball and try and hit us on the break. And they have got fairly quick players on the wings, like Neto and that, so he might cause us problems, because he's obviously been linked with City, but I've got a feeling injuries might put City off him and like maybe go for another winger. I've got a feeling a winger might come in, because I've seen us being linked with quite a lot of wingers, but yeah, I think full-backs and midfielders should be the priority, really, but if we get a winger, then that would be good, because Savio's obviously coming in from Girona, but we don't know how good he's going to be, and I've got a feeling in his first year he's going to be a bit similar to Doku, where he does well at points but also looks quite crap at points as well. I'm quite confident for the Brighton game on Thursday, because they're not going to put 10 men behind the ball, because they do play a quite similar brand of football to City under Roberto De Zerbi, and he's obviously linked with possibly being the next City manager, because City's obviously having to plan for the future, because we don't know whether Pep's going to be at City beyond his current contract, which is 2025, because obviously there's been quite a few managers linked. The Girona manager, Miguel or something like that, I don't know how to say his name, Xabi Alonso, I don't think that will happen though. I think he's going to go to Real Madrid. But I think the guy from Girona, Miguel, Hassan Flick, maybe Xavi from Barcelona, and De Zerbi are probably the most three likely candidates to be the next City manager. But obviously we hope Pep stays, because he's the best manager of all time and the best manager we've ever had within the history of this football club. Arsenal have beaten Wolves yesterday 2-0. I didn't see the game because it was towards the end of the game when I got back from the match yesterday. And I've seen that they won 2-0. But from what I've seen from Arsenal channels, I haven't watched any of the videos, but I've seen the titles and stuff, and they were saying that it was a tough 3 points. So, and they've got to go to Spurs and United. I think there's going to be one of those games where they win absolutely comfortably, 3-0 or something like that. But there's going to be a game where they lose, maybe 2 or 3-1. I think United might beat them, because no matter how good or crap United are, they've always seemed to have not United's number, but Arsenal's number when they played them at Old Trafford. So I've got a feeling United might win that one or draw that one. I reckon Arsenal will probably beat Spurs though. But Spurs are going to have a massive say in the title race, because they've got to go to Anfield, play us, and also play Arsenal. So, yeah. Liverpool have got a couple of tough away games. They've got Fulham. They've got Everton, who are fighting for their lives. West Ham, who often cause big teams a lot of trouble when they play them at the London Stadium. And they've also got Aston Villa, which have got a very good home record this year, and they're still going for top 4, so that won't be easy. I think all the 3 teams going for the title will drop points between now and the end of the season, but I think City will win it, but it will be probably a last-day victory against West Ham at home, and we're probably going to go behind to West Ham and have to come back, like we have done in previous title races on the last day of the season, because I remember from a lot of title races on the last day of the season, we've gone behind quite a lot of the time and had to come back. But we've always come back from behind, but it's obviously not an ideal situation to be in, because it makes it a bit more nervy than what it needs to be. Yeah, that's my thoughts on the 5 things learnt on the Chelsea game, and a bit of my thoughts on the title race and the remainder of the season for Manchester City. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Quite City.